Try the heavy slam. If you do the heavy attack in mid-air while like aiming down for a slam, yeah, you can get a lot of guys with that.
No way.
Yeah.
Yo guys, what is up? Max with a Warframe video, and today we're talking about my experience so far with Warframe as a new player. I now have over 100 hours into this game, and I wanted to give you guys some opinions about what I like and what I don't like, and if this game is worth your time, if it's worth getting into in 2021. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and with that guys, let's get right into it. So for the format of this video, we're going to talk about the things that I do like about this game first, and then we'll get into the things that I don't like about this game, and then hopefully at the end tie it up with a neat little bow and say if this game is genuinely worth your time. Now, the first thing that you're going to notice if you dive into Warframe, which by the way is a free-to-play like space looter slash shooter, it is very akin to like a Borderlands or a Destiny, but it is very, very different than those games. Now, the first thing that I really like that had me coming back over my first few days of trying Warframe was the movement system. The movement system is so fun and fluid, but it's also skill-based. When you first jump into the game, you're gonna feel like a deer walking for the first time. You'll be stumbling, you'll be bumping into walls, and as you play the game and get more used to the maps and the layout and the movement and like really master it, you're going to be flying through maps at crazy speeds, and it feels so good to progress. And that's part of why I've been enjoying this game, because in terms of time investment, you do feel like you're getting skills with the characters that you're playing with. Now, Warframe has like 44, 45 different frames, which are kind of your classes. They each have passive abilities and then 4 main abilities, and they have enough complexity to them that you're going to get better with them as you play and learn their gimmicks, you learn their synergies and how to build these characters. And they're also simple enough that it's not like overwhelming and you can't try new things, that you'll just get like mopped if you don't know the character. Now, one of the biggest pros for me playing this game as someone who loves builds is that there is so much build diversity between the characters, and in each character has its own different playstyles that you could focus on different skills. For example, Volt is one of the starter frames that I started with, and by the time I was a bunch of hours into the game, I had one build for Volt that was like my melee build that was focusing on his speed to just run around and do as much melee damage as you could. I made another build which you can swap loadouts on the fly, like you can save them and swap between them. I had another build that was just for Volt speed and running around as fast as I could, focus on like strength and sprint speed. And then another build that was just focused on doing one activity in the game and just spamming his like lightning 4 ability to just chain damage between enemies. There's so much diversity here in terms of like gameplay styles, and each of the frames has like kind of like a gameplay style in mind that regardless of what kind of player you are, you will find something for you that fits your kind of playstyle. After trying, I haven't tried nearly all the frames. I think I've got like 10 now. My favorite one has been Saren, who is like a toxic dot Warframe where you can latch these spores onto enemies and then spread them and then increase the damage of them. And showing on screen is some gameplay playing as Saren, and when I'm like nuking an entire room as a solo Warframe with dots on all the enemies. And this game does damage and power fantasy so well. You start being able to kill like 1 or 2 enemies at a time with very limited range, and as you progress, as you put time into this game, you will see it pay off because you're going to be doing harder and harder content, and you go from killing 1 or 2 enemies at a time to killing entire screens of enemies, and it is so much fun. Now, those aspects I kind of had heard about Warframe, like the gameplay and the power and the movement. The things that I didn't know about Warframe that genuinely took me by surprise were, 1, the story in this game. I'm not a big story person. I genuinely don't really enjoy story things. Like, I play games like this for the endgame content, for the power, for the grind, and Warframe actually has some really good cinematic missions that like actually get you into the lore and the world of this game. You don't get to the real good cinematic quest until you're like 30 minutes, or like 30 hours into this game. But if you can play this game and make it to a second dream, which is a quest that is so awesome, I promise you'll probably get into the like lore of this game like I already have, which has been really cool. And then the other aspect of this game that I just like wasn't expecting was the like social aspect of this game. No matter what mission you're doing or what you're clicking on, there are always players there with you, and you can choose to play solo. But it's crazy to me that I can click on any mission and any part of this like enormous galaxy and get instantly matched with people in my area who are playing it and working with them. There's not like much interaction with these players besides just like killing things together, but you can group up afterwards, and it's been so helpful as a new player because I'll go into activities that maybe I couldn't handle quite on my own, but having experienced players just jumping in and out of game without me having to like go to external sites to find players to play with as like a solo player that really doesn't have like anyone initially to play with, it's been great because I've already gotten a bunch of friends and people to play with, even though I didn't like start the game with friends to play. So that has been really cool. So that kind of covers all the things I like about Warframe: the gameplay, the power fantasy, the movement, the social aspects, and the surprising story. Also, the game looks so good and is so well optimized. It runs beautifully on my computer, and I've heard it runs very well on other people's systems as well. Haven't really experienced many frame drops at all, which has been really cool. But we do need to talk about the bad sides and the things that I do not like about this game, the things that initially turned me off that I've learned more that like I think at first glance are big turnoffs for this game. And the very first one that I want to talk about is it is a free-to-play game, meaning that you can download it, play it for free. It doesn't cost you anything to try this game, but there are a lot of options to spend money in this game. There's a premium currency called platinum, and there is no way to earn platinum like, for example, doing activities or doing hard missions where you can earn the premium currency. There is nothing in the game that you can earn besides spending money, besides trading with other players. Now, I'm not a huge fan of trading with other players and spending my time trading stuff, but if you want to go into this game as a free-to-play player, just know that the way that you're going to earn the premium currency is by pretty much trading with other players. And you can trade things that you earn just by like running relics and getting rare items. So it is there. It is very possible to do free-to-play, but you are at some point going to need the premium currency. For example, your like MR rank, your mastery rank in this game is leveled up by leveling different warframes and different weapons, and you're going to want to collect the warframes and collect the weapons and the melee weapons, and in order to expand your inventory, you pretty much need the platinum currency. Now, there are like season pass kind of things where you can earn slots and like 1 or 2 at a time, but just know that you are in this game, you're paying for convenience. You're paying for convenience. That is the free-to-play kind of platform. You can go out and farm something for 3 hours, or you can spend the money to get it from another player. I know plenty of people have told me that they're free-to-play players in this game, and they're proud of it. After playing for 2 weeks, I have spent some money on this game just because there's, like, for example, a Warframe that I really wanted to get that I didn't really want to spend 5 hours farming for it because I just spent 5 hours farming for another one. So I paid, like, $3 to another player, and I got that Warframe. So just know that it is there. It's going to be a turnoff for some. It's really not bad. And the other thing, like, kind of, like I noticed at first, is the build times when you're crafting things. Now, for example, this Warframe I'm building, Neja Prime, is going to take 3 days to build, meaning that even though I worked for this thing, I can't actually play it for 3 days. And this originally was a turnoff to me. However, once you start playing the game a lot, you start building a ton of things, and you'll get into like the habit where you always have new things to play, because even though I had Neja Prime building in 3 days, I like just got this Warframe, Mesa Prime, so that I've been playing with that. And once you start building things every day you have new things to jump into the game and try and level up and master and increase your rank. So the actual build times aren't that bad, but yeah, you do have to wait for some things, which is also turn off, and you can rush it. You can spend them money to get those things. My last really like complaint with Warframe as a new player is it's overwhelming. This is definitely a game that is going to throw a ton of information at you, and it's because this game has been out for so long. There's been so many expansions, and I kind of think of it as like if you were to jump in to Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 and all their expansions at the same time. When you're playing this game, you kind of need to focus on certain areas and progress certain areas at a time instead of like starting all the DLCs at once, because there's all these expansions all over the place, and if you start all of them and at the same time you're going to get overwhelmed with them. It is very important to kind of like focus on certain goals at a time, because there is so many hours to sink into this game and so many things to progress in, which is a big plus. There's so much content here. I am 100 hours in and still just barely scratching the surface of the things to do here and the power that I'll be able to achieve. But just know that it is overwhelming, and you're going to spend some time looking up guides, looking up wikis. The wiki is absolutely amazing to understand this game and the direction that you should be taking, and there's tons of really good YouTube guides out there. I might actually make a few myself, just because I'm experiencing all this for the first time and I've found some things that have helped me. But yeah, it is an overwhelming game. I think if you can push past the overwhelmingness and the information overload and get up to a second dream, you'll probably be hooked on this game. But that has been my experience with Warframe. I love the gameplay, the social aspects, the power fantasy. The grind has been really, really fun, and it's so rewarding. It's a really rewarding game. I don't like that I have to kind of like trade with characters to earn platinum unless I'm spending money, and I don't like all the overwhelming aspects, but it is to be expected of a game that has been in its life and very active for years and years and years and years. You're diving into a lot of content that people have been playing for a long time. So yeah, overall, I think Warframe is worth trying out. It is a free-to-play game, and the content and the quality of the content in this game kind of blows me away as a free-to-play game. Like the depth of the story missions and the lore and the cinematics and the music that plays in them. You will have a blast, but just know that you got to take it step by step, and you got to work through this game. There's tons of guides to help you. And yeah, guys, that is it for the video. I just wanted to give my impressions. I do think that this game is rewarding. I do think it is worth giving a go, but it is definitely not for everyone. Definitely not for everyone. That is it for the video, guys. Take care. Peace.